Rate and review Dungeons and Dragon Wagon on iTunes, and you will be automatically entered to win 1 free month of Game Box Monthly. Your odds of winning are great while the show is still new, so what are you waiting for? Rate and review. Hey, I did a thing.
In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason, a D&D inspired homebrew role-playing game recorded and released out into the world for your entertainment. And we do hope that you are entertained. My name is Jake Lloyd. I am the co-founder of Dragon Wagon Radio and host of the podcast Elaborate. You can find me on Twitter at Liquid Jake, on Instagram at Jake Lloyd, and I am playing the half-orc fighter named Junk. Say hi, Junk. Hey, Jake, how's it going, little buddy? Not too bad. You know what? That is a lovely leather corset you have. Yeah, thanks. It makes me feel kind of nice and pretty, and I think that's important every now and then. You know what? You are absolutely right. My associates in adventure are here to my left, as always. She is a friend to the animals, a writer, a poet, and by God, is she not the cutest little thing it's ever cuted. You can find her on Instagram and Twitter at Alexandra Hoy. Alexandra Hoy.
Hello. Hi, Jake.
How is you?
I'm being cute.
You are being cute. That is the truth. Alexandra, of course, is playing the human ranger, Adeline. Say hi, Adeline.
Hi.
Adeline, we discovered some things about you in the last episode.
Yes.
That
yes, you did.
You were keeping secret from us.
I mean, was I keeping it a secret or did no one ask, really?
That's a good point, but I feel like the rest of the party is going to need to dive a little bit deeper into figure out exactly.
I mean, if they have to.
Who and what you are.
I'm an open book.
An open book. Okay. Speaking of open books, I don't know if that is an appropriate segue, but he's here regardless. He is a man with no foe. He is as tall as he is kind, spirited. I'm really running out of those. I'm going to have to really write a bunch down eventually. Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Hinksman and on Instagram at mhinksman. It's Matt Hinksman.
Mushy mushy.
Oh, mushy mushy to you. Matt, of course, is playing the Shadow Elf rogue Matson. Say hi, Matson.
Hello.
And once again, back with us for another episode, our guest in quest. He is an actor, an improviser, and he's just a goddamn delight. Follow him on Twitter at McCay Brendan and follow him on Instagram at bdanmckay. Back for another episode is Brendan McCay.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Yay.
we're so Brendan, you took over. Surprise to us, you actually are playing Adeline's servant, Idlewild.
Former servant.
Yeah.
Former servant. Oh, well, sure. Who's been with us since the first episode.
It's true. Usually very stoic.
But most of the time we forgot he was there.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he has a personality.
Yeah, and it was very surprising.
None of you asked.
Not only did he have a personality, but he had love, passion, and most importantly, rage.
Yeah, really spiked real quick.
Real quick. Talk about 0 to 60.
0 to 100.
And now, of course, I will hand the reins off to the creator of these lands to bring us back into the action. He's the co-host of Myth Understood. Follow him on Instagram at the Paul Bianchi. It is our DM, the Paul Bianchi.
I am here, and it is what I like to call the DMV, the Dungeon Master's Vocational Suite.
All right.
Yep. I also would like to announce, as I have never announced before in an episode, but I also portray the reoccurring character, Kelber Orny.
Yeah, I figure like DM is higher billing.
It is higher billing.
So I feel like I never really introduce you as the guy who...
But he never gets to say hello.
He
But
doesn't
Orny
get to
wants
say
to say
hello.
hi.
You know what?
Introduce.
Okay, we're
Orny.
going to pretend like none of that happened. The audience, just pretend. If you're listening to this, just pretend like you didn't hear that. And of course, he plays the dwarven alchemist Kelber Orny. Say hi, Kelber.
Thank goodness this maybe you touched your genitals hand sanitizer is sitting right here next to me.
Well, specifically next to your chair, Kelber Orny, because we know your nickname.
It's boring old
No,
No.
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 Horny Orny.
Horny Orny.
We know.
Well, and Well, great. That's Orny. So we're gonna dive back into the land. We're actually, unlike last time where it was 2 days after what occurred, we're actually jumping in exactly where we left off for chapter 2.2, A Song of Love and Folly. And away we go. It's a rainy evening in Bogworth. All the lights are out in town, barring the lively lights from the bordello now formerly known as Madame Gurnvilda's House of Leisure. After performing what they could stomach of Doran Pendergrass' erotic play and preparing their forged documents on King's stationery, the elf bard hooker Fiero leads our adventurers across the road to the Church of Amec. He tells you the revered father owes him a favor that might aid you in your journey north. Come, quickly, this way. Yeah, mind the rain. Sorry, it gets very torrential up here in the north.
Matson has a hood, but he keeps it down anyway, because he's badass like that.
Matson, you have that perfectly good hood. Why aren't you covering your head from the elements?
I like the rain.
All right.
He's so emo. As you guys approach the other side of the road, it's not very far at all, just the church on the other side. Fiero just sort of goes to the side door of the church and gives it several knocks on the door and says, "Open up! Open up, Father!"
As they're waiting for the father to answer the door, Idlewild grabs Fiero by the shoulder and he says, "Fiero, wait." And he pulls him close in the rain and he just says, "I've been waiting decades to do this." And he kisses him on the forehead.
That was very nice. I've been waiting decades to do this. Fiero pinches his nipple. Idlewild's nipple.
Oh.
I do not understand the way elves show love.
Right after Junk says that, revered Father Merson opens the door, and he's sort of a shaggy fellow, and he's surprised to see all of you outside of the side door of his church.
What is all this?
Revered Father Merson, I come to you in a time of need. I've been sold off to a terrible animage by the name of Solcian, and I believe you understand how you owe me. May I borrow your carriage? They have horses. We don't need to take your horses, and we can use that to ride north. Just a little bit more undercover, especially in this rain.
Did you have sex with this priest?
More like he had sex with me?
Thank you for clarification.
Yes. This does seem like a dire situation. Please come inside. Come inside.
He sort of ushers all of you into the larger space of the church.
So at this point, the party spent a short while inside of this temple in which the revered Father Merson told the group all about the god which he and his people worship.
Amec was an old world giant, said to have been frozen and then shattered into thousands of pieces. And those thousands of pieces became the race of man.
Well, that sounds like bullshit.
But it would appear it was not bullshit, as at the base of the church, the party was shown a massive footprint left in the earth by the ancient god Amok himself. The priest also gifted Matson with something he believed would aid us on our journey.
A woman traveler gave this to me as payment for a private service at this church. She told me it held great magic.
He withdraws a small object from a cabinet and holds it out to Matson. It's a skull about the size of a gnome's carved from onyx. You see it's patterned in swirls with ancient runes.
Here, take it. It's useless in my possession.
Sure, thank you.
After a short while, the party was then led back out into the rain to the father's chariot, which he so kindly lent us. This chariot was functional, but by no means pretty. Regardless, its covered wagon and driver's canopy would keep our adventurers dry from the rain.
I call guiding this thing.
Guiding it?
Whatever. Driving it.
This is a bad idea.
So
I've driven things.
I'll sit in the back.
Adeline takes the lead in gathering the horses. They look miserable to be entering the rain, but under her loving hand, they do indeed follow her over to the chariot. Give me a roll for animal handling to see if you do well at actually rigging them.
4.
All right, so In your understanding, you do a great job at hooking up these horses to the chariot. But if anyone would like to take a second look, you can.
Could Idlewild do it?
Yeah.
Since
probably
he does
should.
this so much. 11 plus my animal handling, which is 8, so that's 19.
Idlewild, who has been doing a lot of servant work for most of his life, actually has really terrific animal handling, and Adeline seems to have forgotten this in the rain. And so
Yeah.
he looks at Adeline's knots, tries not to make her feel bad, but has to redo all of
I
them.
did a good job, right?
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah, I'm just going to tighten this one.
Oh, okay.
I want to call out to the priest. Say, Father, thanks for your help. But if anyone asks, we were never here.
Cool. Yeah, Orny steps up onto the step and pulls open the carriage door as best as he can and pulls himself inside. Fierro sort of holds the door open and beckons everyone who's not driving to get inside the carriage.
Is there a second seat up front with Adeline? Or
There's a
is it only-
second seat up front,
Oh, okay.
but there's also sort of like a sliding window,
Right, okay.
where you can
Like a
communicate
limo.
still.
So
yeah.
so Junk comes around the other side of that front seat. I guess I'll ride up here with you, Adeline,
Oh, thanks.
since I can see in the dark.
I mean, sure, okay.
And
But you're not driving.
Yeah, I get
I'm driving.
You're really excited about driving.
Yeah.
You're cute when
Listen,
you're
I
excited.
wasn't allowed to do a lot of that
When?
growing up.
Oh, because you're a woman.
Yes.
The servants got to drive more than she did.
Yeah. Which is sad, and you should go enjoy the carriage.
so I'm assuming everyone gets inside the
This
carriage.
has been a good conversation.
This is how people
So
talk.
people talk.
We are now completely in Adeline's hands in terms of how quickly we drive. However, she does first need to take us to the back gate of the city and show our forged papers to the guards at the back gate of the city.
Okay, so I steer us toward the back gate.
The guards see you approaching. They're looking miserable because they're in the rain as well. All right, where do you think you two are going in this carriage?
Here's our papers. We're moving forward to Misty Cross.
Let me see that there. Hold on. And he sort of steps up close because he doesn't want to get your papers wet. He steps up onto the carriage, and I'll need you to roll a deception check here.
13.
Guardsman Kuth is actually very eager to get in and out of the rain. He looks down at your paper that Adeline actually prepared and sees the handwriting that's very nice on this king's stationery. He doesn't even look at all of them. All right, well, have a nice day. We'll open the gate for you.
Thanks, sir.
All right. He steps off of the carriage and opens the gate. As the gate opens, you see into the dark expanse that is King's Promise. At this point in the night, mostly what you see is open fields, sparse trees, and low-growing plants. But this area usually doesn't get that much water, so it's happy to receive this downpouring of rain, this monsoon.
So Adeline's like, yeah, and just starts really trying to make them bolt.
The horses take off at a quick speed, and they're actually sort of happy to go quickly because it's wet and cold, and they haven't had this kind of exercise for a bit. Meanwhile, inside the carriage,
I pull up next to Calbert Orny, and I take out the onyx skull that was given to me, and I ask him, have you ever seen anything like this? Know what it is?
do you mind if I hold it in my hand?
Please.
So Orny reaches over and holds the skull in his hands, and he feels along the edges of like the bone structure. He can feel something that you were probably not privy to before, but he says, "Yes, this has been written on in the language of magic, and I know that it's much more common deep within the gnome mage world for this to be used for teleportation, for teleporting great distances. This is a
Really?
very powerful object. I do not know how to harness it because it's not my area of expertise, but that's what this points to."
Well, thank you. I'll
Here you are.
take it back, and I carefully put it back into my...
Yeah, well,
Cloak.
If you put it there in your breast pocket, it will look like a boob. So don't do
I
that.
don't want to do that.
While you guys are in this carriage, you have noticed that Fierro has packed a small amount of belongings as well. And among those belongings is a guitar, because he is also a bard.
Fierro,
Yes, my friend.
Would you play the Bricklayer's Lament for me?
Oh, it's been so long since I've played that song.
Do you remember the hibiscus tree?
Yes, I remember the hibiscus tree. You know, there's been a song that I've learned while I've been here in King's Promise that I've been wanting to share with you.
Sure, don't play that very sentimental song.
No, it's just...
It's fair. I understand you have
It's been so long. No one's requested that song since I've been here in human lands.
the Bricklayer's Lament.
The Bricklayer's Lament. It's clearly something that we only have enjoyed in
Only
Bridgeport.
slaves. Only slaves.
Only the slaves of Bridgeport.
I would love if you
Biteport.
guys could sing it together at the same time. I would love to hear that.
Well, let's do that. Beyond these walls, we sang of better times. These hearts will intertwine beyond the walls.
Beautiful as I remember it.
It's a very
That was really beautiful, guys.
it's a very dirty song. Now
Does it have a second verse?
Yes.
I would love to hear that second verse.
The bricks resemble our pain inside our heart.
I got this wood block. I'll join in.
And so, like the mason, we lay down our hearts.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful.
That
well,
was sad.
if you don't mind, I could play something a little bit more lively.
No, please do, yes.
All right. Well, this is a very popular song in the human community up north. It's called "The Hero's Downfall."
Ooh.
Oh, once there was a mighty fine hero named Layla. She slayed a hydra by the beach one day when she spied a handsome fisherman waist deep in the water, glistening from the sea spray. She smiled at him and he waved back, and he beckoned her to join beside. And using her heart instead of her brain, the laws of attraction can make you insane. She forgot to move her breastplate, sank and died. And lust makes fools out of heroes. Lust makes fools of us all. Never mind the dread Hydra. Lust was the hero's downfall.
Wow.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Yes. That one I know better because I'm far more practiced at it.
Naturally. It is a very good and chipper song.
Mm-hmm. You seem very lamentful right now, Idlewild.
I've been dwelling on rekindling our friendship.
I mean, you could cut the tension with a butter knife.
What?
Come on, guys. You're amongst friends here. This is a safe space.
Allow me to dissect it. This is how my understanding of the situation. We have your servant boy who doesn't know how to communicate because he's just figuring out his world, and then on the other side we have a hooker, and he's cut it down. He might be charming and lovely, but he's also he has had so many people inside of him. So this is the dichotomy here. How can they find love?
I believe that what we had under the hibiscus tree, you had glanced at me and I had glanced at you, and I knew there was something there. But then you were taken before anything came to fruition.
I was still just a boy.
I as well. A confused little boy. But now I know. I love you, Viera.
And right as he's about to say it back, an axe flies through the air and cuts right through the middle of the carriage and goes in and out from like one side to the other side of the carriage.
Junk, what's out there?
Can I roll for perception?
Yeah, roll for perception.
15.
Junk sort of looks out to either side. It's very hard to see in the rain. On the left side of the carriage, you see nothing. On the right side of the carriage, you see something shambling towards the carriage, coming towards you, but you still can't really make out what it is, more because of the rain falling than the darkness.
Adeline, let me grab the reins. Draw your bow.
Okay.
As you drive further forward, you see that it's actually two shapes, ghostly skeletal shapes, are floating towards the chariot at sort of a clip, and one of them is holding 2 axes in its hand.
Matson, Orny, Idlewild, we've got company.
I don't think my arrows are going to work on these things.
And these things are just sort of hovering around you. They're not attacking, but they are hissing.
How many feet away are they?
You know, they're up close to this carriage as it's going by, about as close as they can get.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
They hiss back at you.
Oh, okay.
I kind of use the hole that they made. Idlewild uses that with his crossbows, and he does his chain bolt to see if he can bring one right up against the chariot. 3? 3?
3. You shoot your chain bolt out, and it just sort of goes through the skeletal ghostly thing, and you've lost the bolt and the chain just like off into the darkness.
Can Junk roll for Sixth Sense? See if there's anything else hiding.
Sure, yeah.
It's a 14.
There's an interesting sense that you get from these skeletal beings that they are associated with another living thing, but that living thing is not in your general vicinity.
Your mark, Fiero, is it changing color or anything like that? Is it activated? Do these have anything to do with your keeper?
My mark is not changing so much as it is burning. I believe this is the work of Solcian. My soul, it's bound to him, Idlewild. He'll take me dead or alive.
What do you want? He screams to the skeletons outside of the chariot.
One of the skeletons puts both of his hands into the hole and reaches through Idlewild's face to point at Fiero before he dissipates into smoke.
There's your answer.
Did the other one also disappear?
Yeah, simultaneously as this one disappears into smoke, the second one also disappears into smoke.
Junk, slow this thing down.
So I slow the carriage down to a halt.
We need to fight them.
Got any ideas how to fight a ghost?
No.
We've tried this before. It didn't end well.
Yeah, where were you for that lighthouse?
Attending the horses.
He was.
And you did a great job.
Thank you.
Feeding them plenty of carrots.
I don't mean to disagree. I'm just saying you can run all your life, but I know how slavers work. They want their property.
Is it worth rolling another perception to see if there's anything that we've gotten closer to in the distance on the road?
Yeah, you've driven...
We've gone a while.
Forward. Yeah.
13.
As Junk looks forward and peers out with his dark vision, he can vaguely make out what looks like a spire sticking up out of the road.
And I get the horses going again and get closer to it.
It doesn't take you very long at all to get closer to this obelisk sticking up out of the road. It looks man-made, made of several black stone blocks that sort of come up in a column about 2 foot diameter, and it goes up about 9 feet.
Whoa, I slow the horses down to kind of like a stop next to it. Hey, Matson, you want to check this out with me?
Yeah.
I get off the carriage, walk towards it.
I also walk towards it, and I want to reach out and touch it.
When you reach out and touch it, it feels almost like your hand is magnetically drawn to it. When Matson's hand is against it, you feel it vibrate. But the magnetism isn't strong enough that your hand is stuck there.
I feel something.
But you just feel an energy radiating from this.
Huh. There's definitely something going on. It's not just rock.
Magic? Is it magic?
Let's all say it together.
Magic.
Is it magic? Sorry, I'm a bard, so I just want to break out into song any time.
Hey, Orny, do you have any idea what this could be?
Hold on, let me see. Does this mean I have to go out in the rain?
I have this leather corset. You can use it as a little umbrella.
All right, thank you. If you can bring the leather corset over and use it as an umbrella over me and shield
So
me.
I bring my leather corset over and I hold it up over his head.
So yeah, Orny walks over and he looks up at the obelisk and he's like, "Oh, did anyone look up at the top of it? Because there's a little blue stone at the top of it."
And we all simultaneously, slowly, comically raise our heads up, and it makes that slide whistle sound.
Hey, that looks like the stone you had, Matson.
Adeline is right. It looks almost identical to the little blue stone that Matson had earlier.
You're right.
Perhaps it's a conduit to power your teleportation device? If I've been such a listener all my life, I figured that maybe that could be a correlation. I'm not sure.
It could be.
Hey, Orny, do you mind if I just give you this corset and you could hold it yourself for a second?
No, I can't because I have...
All right, Idlewild, would you hold the corset over Orny so he doesn't get wet, please.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. So I hand my corset over to Idlewild to guard Orny so he doesn't get wet because apparently he's a freaking mogwai. And I reach down and I clasp my hands together as if to say, like, here you go. Here's a step up.
And I nod at Junk. I guess he's going to boost me up. I'm going to try to see if I can grab onto the top.
Okay.
That's a 12, and I have 3 acrobatics plus 3.
There's enough texture, despite it being very wet, for you to grab on to the top of the obelisk. And you can see from this position that the blue stone is embedded in the very tip of it. And it was emitting a glow, which allowed Orny to see it in the first place. But it's now very clear that this is nearly an identical stone to the little one that you had earlier, but it's very stuck in there.
I stick my hand and I slowly reach out. I don't touch it yet because I'm a little worried. And then I touch it.
Right when you touch it, it shatters. And not just the stone, the entire obelisk begins to crumble down, splitting in half and crumbling down to the ground.
And I quickly try to catch Matson.
Roll a clumsy.
18.
18. You catch him so gingerly that he is thrilled.
Hey, little buddy.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And I prop him up.
As that happens, behind Adeline in the carriage, she hears a puff of smoke. Turning behind her, she sees a skeletal being has apparated in front of Fiero. Unlike the ghostly form taken previously, this one is very much in the flesh. Frozen with fear, Fiero is helpless as the skeleton throws him ass up over his shoulder and leaps from the back of the carriage.
Guys, help! This thing has Fiero.
Matson, quick! And then I grab my warhammer.
Wait, I'll bring him to you.
And I sort of look at Idlewild and I give him the nod, like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
I shoot my chain bolt at him. That's a 10.
When you fire your chain bolt, it lands soundly in the skeletal being's ribcage, and it disapparates into a cloud of purple smoke. Fiero crashes to the ground, but now, Matson, I'm going to need you to roll a dex check for reflex because Mr. Skeleton has immediately, reappeared right next to you.
13.
The skeletal being reaches desperately for the onyx skull that you have within your cloak, but you recoil just in time. It hisses with disappointment, and now it's time for everyone to roll for initiative.
9?
9.
11.
91? Oh, wait, 16.
All right, so the bad news is Orny rolled a 2. The worst news is that the skeletal thing rolled a natty 20. So being closest to Matson, it attacks you in an unusual way. It simply points at you with its bony finger, and in that moment you feel petrified, as if you've been turned to stone. And until this condition is reversed, you cannot attack. And Idlewild, your turn is next.
I turn to Junk and I say, take him out. And I sprint, and with my turn, I just try to grab Matson and just get him as far away from the skeleton as possible.
Just a roll a d20 for that.
Natty twins!
Idlewild rushes Matson in this moment and gives him a huge shoulder block, and the two of them tumble forward onto the ground 7 or 8 feet. The spell also appeared to make Matson feel incredibly heavy as Idlewild knocks his shoulder into Matson. It hurts.
Right,
But it's merely a flesh wound. The skeleton hisses at this, still focusing on Matson. And now it's Adeline's turn to do whatever she wants to do.
Okay, so I jump off the carriage and run over to Matson and locate the skull and attempt to use it.
I will give you that in your turn, you're able to run over to Matson
and grab it.
And grab the skull, but you are still right next to them.
Okay.
And it is Junk's turn to act.
All right, yeah, so I'm still with my warhammer ready, and, at the instruction of Idlewild, who I have recently gained a abundance of respect for, I am going to do exactly like he said and get him. And I'm going to just try to overhead swing and just bash him as hard as I can in his head is what I'm aiming for. And that is a 10.
You rush towards the skeletal thing that turns to see you approach, and as you aim to swing for its head, you actually come down on his knee as he's sort of crouching to stand, and you shatter his shin and foot that just sort of like turns to dust as you like smash him. Because
As they say in the theater, break a leg.
Exactly.
Yakety, schmackety-doo.
Junk is really excited about the play that he put on.
That's true.
He's really excited about his part in that.
Orny uses his turn to run to the epicenter of where the obelisk used to be. He investigates and finds some mysterious blue powder, and though he's not contributing to the battle, Orny collects some of the powder for his turn. Now it is the skeletal thing's turn to act. Adeline, I believe that you grabbed the skull and it is now out in the open, correct? You did not stow it away anywhere?
No.
No, you did not.
She's so afraid to answer that.
And because the skull is now out in the open, the skeletal thing makes a mad dash for it. When it clasps its hand around the skull, the party finds itself enveloped by a terrific, blinding light. And when the blinding light subsides, you are all in a new space. What? It's a medium-sized hall, red-lit stone and archways leading to the dark, storming skies of the plains outside. There are tall iron candelabras and carved ebony changing screens. Only party members, Fiero and Idlewild, have teleported into this new place, meaning that your horses and your carriage are no longer with you.
Oh.
Out of the corner of your eye, you notice a darkly robed figure appear, and you hear, "Well, well, well, my prize has returned."
What the hell? Where are we?
Junk spins around on his heel and sees a sallow, older-looking man, and he's wearing dark red robes and has like very long fingers, and he's sitting on a gold throne next to two skeletal abyssal things in this chamber. He looks pleased as punch to have his plaything Fiero in his midst.
He was bought with blood, is what they said. Whose blood?
Why, the blood it takes to sustain him. Gernvilda, she gave me one of her whores. What was her name? Bonella. It doesn't matter because she's dead. And I keep her blood in this jar and I use it to own the most beautiful little elf man I have ever seen in my life.
So it's just sitting in a jar, this blood that controls Fiero?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you where it is.
Oh, I thought it was like right there.
No, this is a sconce.
Hey guys, nobody said soul scene, I assume, and I really feel like we missed that opportunity.
Yes, yeah. Well, it is me, Solcian. Yes.
I'm gonna roll for perception to see if I can't make out the space better with my dark vision. That's a 15.
When Junk examines the space, he can see that outside through the Colosseum-like archways, it appears to be a similar landscape to where you were before, so you are likely still somewhere within King's Promise. Behind you, to your left, there is a curtained area with a chamber pot, so like where Solcian goes poop. And to the center is a golden demonic statue that you don't recognize. And to the right, there's another curtained off area, but this one's much more sort of like a Pinterest page for like, I was inspired by Arabian Nights, like where he like sleeps and has his like bedroom, and there are pillows and books and personal items in that area.
I have a bargain for you.
Let's see if I'm interested.
Idlewild just rips off his shirt to show off how sexy he is, and he's like, "You want an elf? I'm 3 times as attractive as Fiero. No offense."
Slightly taken.
Don't worry about it.
I'm at this point like trying to get out of Idlewild's robes, which he threw directly onto me, and I'm like trapped in them.
His personality is where he really thrives. But no, you're looking for a sexy elf? Take me in exchange for teaching my comrades how to use the skull so they can teleport to their destination. And that you would free Fiero to live a life not as a slave. I've been a freed slave for long enough. Take me as your sex thing.
You drive a hard bargain, Idlewild. I mean, you are clearly a very sexy elf man. Why can't I just have both of you?
Oh, shit.
While this attempted bargaining is happening due to the spectacle of the now again naked Idlewild and the traipsing around Junk covered in his clothes,
I can't find the hole in this thing.
Orny reaches into his pouch and attempts a sleight of hand. He has on his person a poultice of cure condition, which can feasibly cure Matson of his petrification. And attempting the sleight of hand is difficult for Orny because he is elderly.
The cataracts, right?
Yep. Unfortunately, due to Orny's cataracts, he withdraws instead the potion of honesty. Upon pulling it out and uncorking it, he stops, noticing the smell because the honesty potion is made with elf spit, which has a very distinct smell. He then sadly corks it again and puts it back in his pouch.
That's good.
Adeline at this moment decides to attempt to sneak off to the Arabian Nighted curtained area, since Matson is currently unavailable to do so, to search for this blood or anything else helpful.
Yeah, so check for stealth.
Critical failed.
So
Critical fail.
Adeline attempts to use stealth to sneak off into the bedroomy area of Solcian. It happens right as Junk is removing the cloth from his own eyes, and it sort of ends up right in front of Adeline's feet, and she trips over them and then lands on her knees, falls face to face with Matson and gives him a little accidental kiss as she lands on him. To which Orny responds is this a fairy tale? He's not going to wake up like that.
Oh, geez, finally I'm free.
I meant to do that.
Here's my bargain now that all of these shenanigans have occurred, says Solcian. I will let the four of you less attractive beings leave my midst.
How rude.
If I can have these two elven men. I will let you go unharmed. In fact, it looked like you were interested in raiding my bedroom. You can take whatever you want.
What are you going to do with them?
I will have them pleasure each other in front of my eyes. I will sometimes take part. Sometimes my skeletal things will take part. It'll be an orgy for the ages.
If you give them teleportation stone as well, and any other interesting and important artifacts, I will
have to do this.
You don't.
No, listen, I'm a freaky bitch. You never knew it. I've been quiet. I've been in servitude for so long. I've held my tongue. I've tended the horses. But now I want to get what's mine. And that might include some skeletal dick.
Idwell, just because I've also been a servant and also been a whore for all this time, it doesn't mean you need to lead this life. Yes, I was about to say it before an axe flew through the carriage, but I love you too. And I would rather us be dead together than have to be with this horrible creature for the rest of our lives. How will we ever enjoy the moments that we share with each other?
The first part he said was that we would make love. Us two. And then he talked about him, and then he talked about the skeletons.
Yes, that part, the first part is good.
The first part's great.
Yes.
I would rather have intercourse with you one time in a pure way and then have the worst intercourse for eternity than to just die without ever having intercourse with you.
Listen, man, whatever you are, if you're so confident...
I'm a man. Is an animage
sure?
not a man?
That's debatable. If you're so confident in defeating us, why have to bargain at all?
Oh, got a little tongue on this one, don't we?
It's not so little.
Adeline.
Perhaps you want to stay too.
I do not.
As this altercation is happening, Orny has been trying again to withdraw the correct thing with a sleight of hand.
I like to think he's gone through almost every bottle at this point.
I'm going to try and continue to distract him.
Yeah, see how much you help with your distraction here.
3.
Well, you don't help very much, but he is in the middle of grandstanding right now. And Orny did roll a 17 at sleight of hand this time. And so he correctly pulled out his poultice of cure condition, and he sort of gives eyebrow over to Junk, because he's the only one who's free kind of right now, asking for your permission. What do you think? Should I cure Matson right now? or should I hold off?
What are you doing with your eyebrows, Orny?
I was asking you whether or not I should do this. And then he throws the potion of cure condition down on Matsun. The flask shatters, and immediately Matsun starts to feel his joints sort of moving and returning to normal. But it's sort of a slow process. He's not like immediately springing to his feet, but he's returning to a pliable human-esque thing again.
Where are we? Why is Idlewild naked again?
This response also triggers a flinch in Solcian because despite it not being a direct attack on him, it is something that feels threatening that suddenly Matsun is being awakened. You see him sort of reaching for the wand sitting on the corner of his throne.
Idlewild looks to Fiero and he just kind of like makes the eye contact like, you don't want to do this? You don't want to live together?
Of course I want to live together.
But you want to live free?
Or die hard.
Solcine, you wanted to fuck us, right? Well, we're gonna fuck you.
He really likes that line.
Right when you say that, Solcian's eyes glow red. And while this has happened, Orny has withdrawn yet another potion from his alchemy bag, and he has it at the ready. It is the potion of empowered rage. He has it in his hand, trembling because he's sort of afraid to use this one. It's sort of obvious on him. But that's the last bit of information you get before entering initiative.
8.
5.
5 as well.
Critical fail.
Well, guess who rolled the highest?
Orny?
Orny.
Yes.
Hey!
Orny is going to go first, but he's, again, looking at his party mates with a little bit of like, should I use this? But it's an unspoken thing because he feels like it's a good idea, but he's also afraid of it. Basically, if everyone in the party gives him a thumbs up, he will throw this. So he gets a thumbs up from Adeline. He has 3 thumbs up and Junk's on the fence.
Sure. What's going on, guys? Why do you guys all have your thumb? Oh, and then I give my final big giant thumbs up.
Okay, Orny hurls this frightening looking. It's like even the poultice that it's within is scary looking. It's sort of like in this like spiral bottle that you would never actually be able to set down on anything. It flies through the air and hits one of the skeletons, and it changes color. We get the impression that the skeleton is no longer under Solcian's control, but it's also not under our control.
It's wild.
This thing is wild and imbued with extra strength. He curses at seeing this happen to one of his skeletons. Fuck! And Solcian waves his wand in the air, and this shower of sparks falls around him. It's sort of like this turquoisey blue sparks. It's this color that you guys have been used to, associated with the color of magic here in Rymor. And when he appears on the other side, he is no longer in the shape of a man. He is now in the shape of a hydra that is about 8 feet tall.
Really glad we didn't get fucked by that hydra.
Sugarfoot.
That's Solcian's turn, though. So now it is actually Matsun's turn to do whatever.
Am I still kind of encumbered by the spell, or am I pretty good now?
You've shaken it off, and also you've just watched a man turn into a hydra. I think you're a little bit shaken awake at this point.
All right. I guess I'm attacking the hydra.
Go for it.
5. 2 and 1.
The hydra is slick and quick, but so are you. Matsun does an air cartwheel and slices the tail for 2 damage.
Ooh.
Next, the enraged abyssal skeleton gets a go. The enraged skeleton goes for an attack on Matsun as he's the closest one. The enraged skeleton shoots a fireball out of its mouth and hits Matsun for 3 damage.
Oof.
And now it's time for Junk to act.
Hey, Orny,
What's up?
do you know anything? You're very, very relaxed.
Sorry, I'm a little shaken from throwing my thingy.
Sure, no sweat. Good job, by the way. That was very well done.
Sort of.
Does this thing have any weakness?
Historically, hydras are weak to fire. You can't just cut off their heads, you have to cauterize their wounds.
Good to know. So I'm going to grab my warhammer. I'm going to run for the lowest head, one closest to the ground, to see if there's any way that I can sort of smash it like a bug, just right on its head.
All right, great.
That's a 5 for 6.
So you indeed run over to one of the 7 hydra heads, and you try to hit it like one of those strength testers at a carnival.
Yeah.
But you catch it for only 3 points of glancing damage. And now it's Idlewild's turn to act.
I keep mental note of the torches, and then I take 2 shots to the Hydra's dick.
Oh,
How many dicks does it have?
7.
9. It's more of like a distracting shot. I'm just trying to like get it real pissed. 9 damage to the dick specifically.
Yeah, so 9 damage is done to the dick of the Hydra. It's Adeline's turn to act.
So I draw my bow and shoot an arrow through a torch, aiming for the Hydra. 18. 2.
The physics you described don't actually function, but the arrow that you picked up for some reason, I guess, was old and sitting in alcohol for a while, so it could actually pick up the flame. And so when you shoot your arrow at the Hydra, it flies through the air. It hits for 4 damage because it's on fire, and just like Adeline, this Hydra does double damage when you hit it with fire.
I'll turn your ass to ash.
Nice one.
So now the second non-enraged skeletal thing attempts to attack next. But just as that happens, a familiar orange feminine phantom emerges from Matson. She wraps her arms around the skeletal thing and falls with it into the floor and leaves behind a cloud of purple smoke. With this action, both Matson's benevolent spirit and the skeletal enemy are now cleared from the battlefield. It's Orny's turn to act. Orny withdraws a Politis of Fire Burst successfully. His cataracts are not hindering him too much at this moment. He hurls the Politis of Fire Burst into the air, which strikes in area damage on the Hydra for 1 damage for every head that is on the Hydra. So for 7 damage.
Love it.
Solcian rears all 7 of his heads back and spits a pool of acid upon you guys. This is a terrible, poisonous Hydra acid that strikes every person in the party for 2 damage each. But because he didn't roll very high for his accuracy, the poison for it doesn't stick for any lasting poison damage on all of you.
What the hell was that?
It was ineffective acid poison. Try again, bitch.
So it's Matson's turn.
I want to use my jackknife attack,
Okay.
which takes 2 turns.
Yep.
Attack roll 17, 3, and 5.
All right. Well, so that's waiting in the wings. During Matson's turn, he stealths away from the battlefield, battle rolls towards the Hydra, and lies in wait for his backstab attack. And now it's time for Junk to act.
I am going to grab the very, very bottom of my Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I am going to, what I think is for the first time this whole freaking game ever, use my special attack, which is Rage Wind, which essentially is me just spinning on my heels as hard as I can around in a circle to just destroy as many heads and hit as many times on this beast as I can.
Excellent.
That's a
Nice.
natural 20
Natural 20.
for 2.
With a natural 20, you're hitting Solcian with a critical hit on every single one of his heads as you spin towards him.
As I'm spinning around, I go, whee!
You attack Solcian for a whopping 28 damage. Wow. Just like bludgeoning 4, 4, 4, 4. Like if it's a video game, you'll see those points just like boop, 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 coming off of all of his heads. This rattles Solcian completely and he recoils. And the enraged skeletal form is confused and attacks its own master in Solcian for 9 damage with a fireball. But remember, fire does double damage against the Hydra. Hits it for 18 damage. Wow.
Jeez.
When this occurs, the fireball colliding with the Hydra blasts into black smoke and then collapses onto his hands and knees. It is again Solcian in human form, and he's heaving and panting right in front of his throne. He looks at everyone with, again, these red glowing eyes, just rage through his gritted teeth, and he just looks at both Firo and Idlewild. I will fuck you!
Oh my.
It is
Hashtag me too.
It is Idlewild's turn to act.
No, you won't. And he grabs a torch off of the wall and just sprints and just shoves it right in his ass.
So let's see how well you do this.
It's a natural 1. Critical fails. So we'll see how that goes.
So Idlewild, after sounding really badass, reaches to grab a torch off the wall. He grabs it. He starts running. As he reaches Solcian, he attempts to do like a cartwheel over him in order to like stick the thing up his ass. He indeed does this one-handed cartwheel, which looks really cool. But as he reaches around to the other side, he sort of over-rotates into the throne that he was sitting on for 1 damage. And his torch lands behind him and starts burning a curtain back there too.
Look, Idlewild's distracting him.
Yes, he is.
It is Adeline's turn.
I guess I'll just aim my arrow right at his stupid face.
Okay.
8. 3.
Adeline shoots an arrow at Solcian. It sails through the air and hits him right through the hand as he's sitting there on his hands and knees. Crap, I meant to put up a shield right before that happened. And you sort of see his other hand do like the failed after image of like the shield that he tried to put up. So Orny reaches into his bag of tricks and he pulls out a poultice of Frostburst this time. And now he throws it at the enraged skeletal thing.
Surprised you can see it.
I think there'd be something in his bag of tricks for cataracts.
Yeah. And I know.
He's very stubborn.
You think he could use that poultice of cure condition for it.
He doesn't actually think he has it. He's like that. He's old people get old.
Yeah.
So yeah, the poultice flies through the air, but just sort of falls just short of this thing, the skeletal thing, and it crashes and emits frost energy, lapping at the skeleton's heels for only 1 damage. And now it is finally Matsen's turn to attack. He has perfectly placed himself in the shadows behind Solcian. He comes up from behind with his twin daggers, and he yelled, "Jackknife!" He yells jackknife and stabs right into the spine of Solcian. Everyone can hear the vertebrae cracking, and Solcian just and collapses into a pool of his own blood. Still on the playing field, though, is this enraged skeletal beast that, after the death of Solcian, appears to be even more frenzied than it was before. And it fails at attacking terribly, shoots a fireball straight into the ground, right at its own feet. It's sort of sputtering around like a chicken with its head cut off because it has no master. So that being said, it is Idlewild's turn.
I'm going to shoot at him with my crossbows. Natural 20!
Natty twins.
Woo! So does that mean you double the damage?
Yeah, I do.
22 damage.
22 damage obliterates this fledgling skeletal creation. These bolts that you shoot end up hitting him right in the center of the skull, right in the center of the pelvis, face and dick, and it shatters him apart into dust, and he falls down into a purple plume of energy again.
No one's getting boned today.
After all of this, the battle is over. Fierro runs over to Idlewild and just gives him a giant kiss.
Idlewild reciprocates and holds the back of Fierro's head gingerly.
Oh, boned. I get it. You guys get it?
I can't believe that you guys came together to do this for me. Really, he was a terrible human being. And look, the mark on my arm it's fading away.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I actually ended up writing a second verse of that song that I sang earlier.
The Bricklayer's Lament?
Not the Bricklayer's Lament. No, this song. It's about us.
Once there was a sad young bard named Fierro who left his friend when just a boy. And he banked on his looks just to survive, but never once did it bring him joy. Then one day he found his friend who'd blossomed into a handsome man. And he had embarked on an important quest, 'cause all through life he'd been the best. But Fiero hoped he'd change his plan, 'cause love makes fools out of heroes. Love makes fools of us all. Stay with me, Idlewild. And I'm not sure how the song should end.
Together we shall fall.
Wait, but we survived.
Like in love.
Oh, in love.
Yes.
I get it. That's really clever.
It's poetic.
Oh.
I was going to suggest it should be love is the hooker's downfall.
Oh, Orny, no.
Yes.
And while all that was going on, Matson didn't really care. He decided to go look around, see what he could loot, and maybe he picked up that wand that Solcine was looking for.
Oh, and maybe that skull again, too.
Oh yeah, definitely the skull.
Matson, you were successful in picking up both the wand that Solcine was using, and you picked up the onyx skull again that was left where it was in relationship to where you guys were all had on the road, but this time it was just in the center of the room.
Adeline.
Yes, Idlewild?
Idlewild walks up to Adeline holding Fiero's hand. I loved my time with you. I cherished it. You were the only bright light in a life of slavery. I want you to know that you will always be my queen that liberated me and my people.
I only did what was necessary and only gave you what you deserve. Now it's time for you to learn to live your own life for you.
And you need to learn how to tend your own horses.
What do you mean? I think I'm a great horse tender.
You're
really
really
need
bad.
to-
You're really bad.
What?
Those knots.
What?
If I had let you leave the chariot as it was, it would have been. Honestly, you need to train.
All right, I will. Thanks so much for your loyalty and, more importantly, your friendship. I don't know how I would have survived without you, and I just wish you both the utmost happiness.
Thank you, Adeline. I hope our paths cross again.
Adeline, I have something that I would like to give you.
Oh?
I have in my possession a perfume that was given to me. It's made of lipsith. It's a very rare herb, and it doesn't last very long, but when you wear it, you can persuade any person of much of anything. You have to be very careful when you use it because you might have to, beat them off with a stick afterwards to get them away from you, or even just beat them off. I have to say I've done both, but
What?
please take it.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much.
Adeline, I'd give this to one of your comrades, but I love you more. I want you to have my ring of the faceless man. When you wear it, there's a 50% chance that an enemy won't even notice you during combat.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Adeline is so moved and fighting back tears. She's a tough gal, but she hugs them both and says, best of luck again. Thank you so much.
Until our paths cross again.
When you leave us here, do not look back over your shoulders because we will likely be having the sex over there on the corner.
Oh no, we're going to have you bidetted first.
Oh.
You are disgusting and have been a prostitute. I mean, you're disgusting like as far as you're
Oh, now it comes out.
No, I'm
Here
just
we
saying.
go.
No, I no judgment. Just, clearly you might have some. I love you.
And I think that's a good enough spot to end our adventure for today. Wow, Adeline. I mean,
Aw.
Adeline, you said goodbye to Idlewild.
I did. It was so moving. I'm glad he's going to have his own life.
I am
full
just.
of debauchery and
I'm glad that we actually
loving
got to.
sex.
Yeah, that we got to know him,
yeah.
and now he is going to get to know.
I like the touch of the
Fair.
faceless man. It's like he was
Yeah.
traveling with us.
Yeah,
And you didn't even know.
beautiful.
And now I have a cool ring and a really cool perfume
All right,
that hopefully will lead to some fun hijinks.
women be shopping. Am I right, guys?
Well, you guys did an incredible thing today. You murdered the evil animage Solcian and his after-death skeletal ghost
we
beasts.
didn't murder. We brought to justice. I feel
Well-
like we throw the word murder out there a lot.
Is,
The difference between murder and killing.
Yeah, we killed this dude for sure. Hard.
I think, I
For
mean,
love.
For love.
well, if you are counting at home, This guy had an incredible 80 HP, which is a lot higher than our party members. And due to this fantastic feat, you guys actually walk away with 500 HP.
Whoa.
Or XP.
That levels us up.
Whoa.
That does level you up. And we will be doing that level up at next week's roundtable.
Oh, that's fantastic. So that is
1485.
1485. Well, Brendan, you were fantastic.
Oh, stop.
You were
Thanks for having me.
I'm
Thank you so much.
legitimately angry now that we don't have Idlewild with us, knowing that this is how he was the whole time.
Well, he's not dead, so
True.
Maybe
you
we'll
can bring
see him
me back
again.
one day.
True. He might be our
know.
first return.
Even though you tried to get him sold into...
Yeah, really.
I tried. I gave you guys a lot. I tried to get him killed. I
like your play style. It
Yeah.
was chaotic in the
It's
end.
okay. That's just me.
It's perfect.
Brendan, once again, remind the people kind of where they can find the things that you do out there in the world.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube's is my favorite thing to share is just look up Brendan McCay on YouTube and
And it's
you'll find my channel.
MCCAY.
It's MCCAY, yeah.
That's not how you spell YouTube.
I know, right? And then also McNerdcraft on Instagram is my Dungeons & Dragons crafting and painting stuff.
Nope. After we recorded this episode, Brendan went and renamed his Instagram to Wood Elf Workshop. So McNerdcraft is not a thing. It is now Wood Elf Workshop. Way to go, Brendan. Once again, you were absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us on this
Thank
adventure.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Those listening at home, if you want to see more about our adventure, learn more about our backstory, the land that we're in, see character photos and profiles, all that good stuff, everything can be found on DNDWpod.com. You can also click the contact button in the top right corner of that page and send us an email. Use the little drop-down menu to connect to Dungeons & Dragon Wagon and tell us what your thoughts are. Tell us what we did wrong. Tell us what we did right. Tell us just how sexy Idlewild really and truly was. And be sure to follow at D&DW Pod on all social media and use hashtag D&DW Pod when you are talking about this and, of course, when you're sharing it with your friends, because that's something that we would absolutely love you to do. If you're enjoying the show, please ask that you share it with somebody who you know will love it. And also rate and review on iTunes is so incredibly important. It is the best possible way for the show to find organic listeners. Ratings and reviews on iTunes mean so much. They take just a minute. You could probably do it by the time I am done wrapping up all of this nonsense, and we would greatly appreciate it. Speaking of greatly appreciating things, Dungeons & Dragon Wagon is, of course, on the Dragon Wagon Radio Independent Podcast Network. Dragon Wagon is completely independent. We have a bunch of fantastic shows, and it takes a lot of work to produce all of these shows, but we are totally nonprofit as it stands right now. If you were enjoying this show or any show in the network, please consider showing your support. There's a bunch of different ways you can do that. Simply check out dragonwagonradio.com/support. You can donate directly via PayPal, set up monthly donations, or you can gift us something directly from an Amazon wish list. That way you know exactly what you're getting to us, and it'll be sent right here to the Dragon's Den. Either way is greatly appreciated. We couldn't do this without your support. And we hope that you guys enjoy listening to this as much as we enjoy playing it, because, God, it is just an absolute fucking blast. I can definitely say that on behalf of myself, and I assure my cohorts here. With that said, Paul Bianchi, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Matthew Hinksman.
Bye.
Alexandra Hoy.
So long and farewell.
And our guest of Quest saying goodbye. He was fantastic, Brendan McCay.
Goodbye, sweet loves.
On behalf of all of us here at Dungeons & Dragon Wagon, we will see you next quest.
It's Dragon Wagon.
Can I run and ask Paul a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Secret question?
Secret questions. Secret.
When you got a little question and it's a secret, you go to Paul by yourself. And then he tells you what you want to know and you hope you don't burn in hell.
Don't
So
burn.
he's got a secret. And he's asking it now. He's asking Paul. He's a redhead. But he doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to be something that winds up dead. Get that secret.
Matt is asking secret
Get that secret.
Secret questions.
He's got red hair and he doesn't easily scare because he's Paul. He's a DM debonair and he wants to have fun with his friend Boom Boom. Secret questions over.